once it goes on here, that's it. This is going direct. It's not like it's just new. It's called direct upload. It's going straight. I've got a little dongle on my computer.
Well, you shouldn't have done it then, should you?
Got a little dongle on my computer.
Yeah, I've got a little dongle. We know that. You're going to put that on YouTube as well.
It's already on record.
You're going to put your little dongle on YouTube.
Just bring it in, so we're just nicely picture. Just stand up, Daddy. You haven't got a collar on, have you? Stand up, baby. Just stand up so they can all see you. Stand up. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Right, Tibetan Chila. We'll get these other dogs out of the way. So, 7 weeks ago she was diagnosed as being hypothyroid. We've had her on thyroxyl twice a day since then. Major improvement. She's a much happier dog to begin with. She's a lot more energetic. She's wanting to play, wagging her tail. The temperature's better, whereas before her ears were always really cold, and her breath and her nose, she was really cold. That's come up back to normal temperature. She looks an absolute mess, but it's can you bring the camera in, love? She looks a mess, but we're not too worried about that. She'd gone completely bald around her neck. It was down to black bare skin. Now what's actually happened, the undergrowth is pushing through. Gus, will you shut up? I'm doing this interview. And all the bald patches, we're now seeing nice new hair growing underneath. As a result of that, the new hair, the new undercoat that's growing through, is actually pushing all the dead skin up. If you look at that, how scurfy she is. We really need to get a blaster on her, blast her off, and then give her a good bath and a shampoo. She's still got way to go with her hair growing. But anyway, we took her back to the vet for a blood test yesterday. She actually had 2 blood tests. The first blood test was to check the the thyroid levels, and I'm pleased to say the vet rang me back this morning with the result. She's back up to normal. So whereas 6 or 7 weeks ago her level was 6.4, less than 6.4, which was well under the norm, she's now 61.5. So the vet's quite happy with her. He said just to keep her on thyroxyl twice a day, and maybe take her back in 6 months for an update blood test, see how she's going. A couple of other things which we can't understand what's going on. Gusta, will you be quiet? For some reason, skull's shrinking. Now I've seen this happen a few years ago. It actually happened to her uncle in Scotland. His skull shrunk, all the meat around his skull shrunk back and left the occiput bone very prominent. Don't know what's going on there. And also whether it's a side effect of taking the thyroxyl tablets, she's excessively thirsty. She's drinking much more than normal. So much so that most mornings we come downstairs into the kitchen to find a lake all over the floor, which isn't a real problem. Well, it's not a problem for me, but it's for Janet because she has to clean it up. Now, at the vets, it's suggested perhaps we take a blood test in case there's a diabetes problem going on there. But again, that's come back normal. She's fine. He's happy with her. The distended stomach seems to have gone down a bit. I'd still like to see a bit more weight off her. She weighed in on the scales yesterday, 49 kilos, which is just a little bit more than I'd like. I'd like to see her lose 5 or 6 kilos. So, hopefully onwards and upwards. But she's a much happier girl, aren't you, Chila? Hey? Like a puppy again, running round. Less stiff in the back end. Still a little bit stiff, but I mean, she's 7 years old and she's gone through a lot. But other than that, we're delighted. Waggy tail. Grow some hair on that tail. I'm going to do Gus now. Hey Gus. Stand up. Give up, Toby. Now, whilst we were at the vets, when we took Chila down, we also took her brother Gus down. Nothing wrong with him, really. He's a happy dog. He's eating, he's playing, he's barking as much as normal, which is quite a lot. But he seems to have lost an awful lot of weight around this back end. No idea why. Wormed them all the dogs a few weeks ago. But he's lost a hell of a lot there. Scaled off at 38 kilos, which is way too low for a male of this size. He should really be probably in the 45 to 52 kilo, 55 kilo. So, again, the vet suggested a blood test. And all that's come back normal. So theoretically, there's nothing wrong with him. Don't know what to think, really, if anybody's got any ideas.
Increased his food.
We've increased his food, yeah. We're going to start feeding him up. On average, the dogs get, some of them get 200 grams, the fatter ones, of meat. Most of them get about 300 grams of meat, plus vegetables and a few biscuits. So we're tripling Gus's rations up to 600 grams of meat, lots more biscuits. And actually, we've just been thinking about trying him on Chappie. Many years ago, when I took Tanya in as a 7-month-old rescue, she was pathetically underweight. And a couple of people mentioned Chappie. Now, when I was a kid, I always thought Chappie dog food was what poor people fed the dogs on. Probably is, because it's cheap. But the vet and somebody else advised it, and we fed Tanya up on Chappie, and in a matter of weeks she'd gone from 40 odd pounds to about 80 pounds. So it really did work. So we might give him a try with Chappie, which is basically, I think, full of fish and cereals, along with his existing diet of meat. See how that goes. So maybe do an update in a few weeks, see if it's increased his weight and put some meat on his ribs. But other than that, can't think of what's wrong with him, to be honest. So, see how it goes. Dilly babes! Come on, let's have you all in. Go on, girl.